Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is the next standalone Borderlands adventure with a fantasy Dungeons & Dragons theme. When making your character, besides investing in your attributes and looks, you'll also get a choice of 6 classes: the BrrBringer, the Stabbringer, the Clawbringer, the Graveborn, the Spellshot, and the Sporewarden. Classes have an always-on perk, like the Clawbringer having a wyvern pet, as well as 2 abilities to choose from and a large skill tree to invest into. Then, a short time into the campaign, you can choose a secondary class. Doing so will grant you 2 always-on perks, 4 abilities to choose from, and 2 large skill trees to invest into. So in this video, we're taking a look at all the class combinations and how they would perform together from what we know. Before we start, let me know below what combination of classes you're looking forward to picking up. Also, I'm trying to get to that sweet 250,000 subscriber count, so if you could do me a favor and subscribe, I will tell the gods at Gearbox to grant you shiny gear rolls. Alright, let's begin. Starting with the BrrBringer and Clawbringer, which could be the Clawzerker or the BrrBringer. Both of these classes seem like they'll have passives that increase your tankiness, one being focused on melee, which absolutely needs a way to stay alive, and the other being a Knight of Swords. This combination would mostly thrive in melee range due to its action skills. The Berserker lets you supplement its tank with some life leech when things die, as the Berserker has a focus on cryo damage, and the Clawbringer on fire and lightning. This could be an elemental combo with fire, frost, and lightning. Being able to freeze targets to shatter them with cleansing flames may also be brilliant. Then we have the Berserker and the Stabmancer, which could be the BrrMancer or the Stabzerker. This on paper seems like one of the most synergistic of the combos, most likely the one you roll if you plan for a heavy focus on melee. The Stabbringer brings with it melee and crit buffs, while the Berserker brings their melee damage buffs and frost effects. Frozen targets take more melee damage, and the Stabbringer focuses on status effects, possibly extending the duration or increasing the effectiveness. Going stealth also guarantees a critical strike, so those who want to get up close and deal some big hits, this will be your class. You are likely to also be survivable and have more movement related buffs. Next we have the Berserker and the Graveborn, or the BrrBringer or the Gravezerker. This will be your Master of Death and Frost class, a Lich of Swords. The Berserker gains life when things die, and the Graveborn has a focus on kill related passives as well. The Berserker has a dash of occult magic, and the Graveborn focuses on it. This might be a way to focus on frost and dark magic as well, letting your Berserker step back from a melee and shine with a gun or spell play. Though the reverse can be said, as the Graveborns can use dire sacrifice to leap into melee range and damage all around them. As it takes 20% of your current health and death heals the Berserker, this is a nasty combo. In fact, both focus on life regen, as Reaper of Bones gives the Graveborn bonus lifesteal. As things die around you in melee range, you'll be getting stronger and regenerating more. Next up is the BrrBringer plus the Sporewarden, which could be the BrrBringer or the Sporezerker. As Sporewardens have a focus on range and guns and add some cryo damage, this combo may be a way for the Berserker to focus on your regular Borderlands gunplay experience, with a way to keep things frosty. Sporewarden's weakness is melee, and the range is the Berserker's weakness, so they balance each other out. Frost tornadoes will be made stronger by the Berserker's passives, and you could probably run a sniper and melee build, forsaking the middle ground. Think Zero from Borderlands 2. Next is the Berserker and the Spellshot, which could be the Spellzerker or the BrrShot. With Spellshot's focus on spells and Berserkers on cryo damage, this class might be able to specialize entirely on cryo damage spells, a mix of spell casting and melee. At range, using a mix of cryo enhanced weapons and spells, then getting the finishing blows in melee. I see this as more a medium to close range class. Next we have the Clawbringer plus Graveborn, which could be the Clawborn or Gravebringer. Having both a wyvern and lich pet out at all times, this could be a class that focuses on casting fire, lightning, and death spells, as well as utilizing companion damage. Unlike the up-and-coming Gravewarden, this class will be a bit more tanky and have more melee options, but really, the main reason why you'd pick up a Gravebringer is for the pets. Next up is the Clawbringer plus Sporewarden, which could be the Clawwarden or Sporebringer. This class has both a wyvern and a shroom pet, with the buffs to companions that Sporewarden gets. It has a rounded playstyle of melee, range and companion damage, so it would be perfect for group play. This also means that if invested in group buffs, it could be individually underpowered, but a great friend. Next is the Graveborn plus Sporewarden, which could be called the Gravewarden or Sporeborn. This will be your premier pet class, as the Graveborn has the Demi-Lich as well as summoning temporary demonic minions as things die. The Sporewarden getting access to the Mushroom minion and is able to buff your companions. If you want an army fighting alongside you, this may be the combination to choose. This would be more a sit back and let the action happen class though, as the Sporewarden likes range and the Graveborn likes spells. Next is the Stabbermancer plus Spellshot, which could be called the Spellshot or the Spellmancer. This class seems very fragile, with the potential to deal a lot of damage due to the Stabbermancer's enhanced crits and the Spellshot's bonus to gunplay and spells. The Spellmancer has buffs to both, as does the Spellshot. Perhaps the Stabbermancer's Ghost Blade becomes quite a bit more effective with the Spellshot support, able to make this class a great area denier as it has a super low cooldown. The Spellshot's polymorph could also make both their high damage outputs even more effective. Next is the Stabbermancer plus Clawbringer, which could be the Stabbringer or Clawmancer. The Stabbermancer enhances status effects while the Clawbringer focuses on fire and lightning, therefore this could be the premier damage over time class, placing powerful status effects on enemies while smashing them up in melee, or maybe a high critical cleansing flames would be insane to watch. Next is the Stabbermancer plus Graveborn, which could be the Stabborn or Gravemancer. This is the edgiest roguelike class, frail but can have a melee focus by leaping in and getting buffs from kills and dealing high critical damage. Graveborn makes it possible to sustain damage output with a high life leech from Reaper of Bones. In fact, as Reaper of Bones gives you increased magic damage, it might be a way to focus on quick critical striking spells, all while keeping yourself healthy. Paying health for abilities though makes this class seem quite high risk, high reward. Now comes the Stabbermancer plus Sporewarden, which could be the Sporemancer or Stabwarden. So Stabbermancer can focus on all forms of combat and Sporemancer focuses on range, so expect this to be a high damage sniper class or even medium range with spell support. Your barrage of arrows fires 7 arrows at once, all having an increased crit chance. The Stabbermancer gives your next sniper headshot increased damage when coming out of stealth, which also could be used to get out of danger when your enemies close in on you. The next class combination is the Spellshot plus Clawbringer, which could be the Spellbringer or Clawshot. This will be the class to go to if you want to focus on fire or lightning spells, with the Clawbringer able to buff those damage types and the Spellbringer having a focus on spells. It could function as a jack of all trades too, having a bit of melee, a bit of gun damage and a bit of spells, as well as some tank. Next is the Spellshot plus Graveborn, which could be the Spellborn or Graveshot. Here we have the potentially most able to be spell focused class. Notably, the Demi-Lich companion that the Graveborn have as a perk casts a spell when you cast one, and the ambidextrous ability of the Spellshot to be able to cast and equip 2 spells will mean this effect can be triggered much more often. Also, we can assume that both the Spellshot and the Graveborn will have spell passive buffs. Expect a lot of dark magic spells as well. The last combination is the Spellshot plus Sporewarden, which could be the Spellwarden or Sporeshot. Seems like it'd be your long range weapon damage and spell option. Spellshot gets access to weapon buffs and Sporewardens have a focus on long range. Unlike the Stabwarden though, this will have more powerful spell options at range too. Or you could just polymorph any enemy that gets into range, giving you great crowd control so you can focus on sniping. So those are all the class combinations. What did you think? Do any stand out? Are you excited? Let me know below. Release is right around the corner, so be sure to stay locked on /Dantix for everything Wonderlands and RPG. Ciao friends.